have a busy forecast for you, specifically a very busy hail forecast to get into today. So let's get to your major headlines. Now today, Kansas City, severe storms, strong wind, and a few tornadoes are possible across both Kansas and Missouri. Significant hail is one of the biggest things that we're watching for today. So one of your most likely risks with this line of storms right along a cold front is going to be that large hail this afternoon. We're talking about 2 inches and larger. This cold front produced all of those storms in South Dakota and Minnesota yesterday. It's continuing to track to the south, and as it gets into the right position, it's going to help to fire up storms once again in the central portion of Kansas and portions of Missouri. So that cold front, that is your big weather maker today. Taking a look at Kansas, this is the area that I really want you to focus on for that hail risk. What we're watching for here is we're watching for those yellows to turn into oranges and maybe even some reds mixing in there for the largest hail size. So this is not the likelihood of hail. This is the potential hail size if the perfect storm could form. What is your max hail size for today? Okay, I saw some oranges. Let's zoom back into Kansas and Missouri. Let's talk about that one more time. Where are we expecting the largest hail to form today and how large? All right, we can see some reds try to mix in there as well. Really what I saw from that is right along the southern side of Kansas near Wichita, all the way up to I-70, just on the west side of Kansas City. This area right here is where we saw the largest hail potential, largest hail potential. I think that's important. So let's continue here. Let's go to your largest hail size. I went ahead and I was right on the fence here between hen, egg, and tennis ball size hail. I almost went 2.25 for your largest hail size. I mean, split the difference, right? I think that if we could get the perfect storm, we could absolutely get tennis ball size hail today. But a few other storms, of course, could produce hen egg sized hail, golf ball sized hail, also possible here. We could also see those smaller hailstones like quarters or maybe even ping pong. But where? Where are we going to see that largest hail today? Zooming into Kansas, once again, I've circled this area in red where we are likely to see the largest hail. Now, what about the likelihood here? Well, we're going to have more scattered showers and storms across the eastern side of Kansas and into Missouri. So more storms, oftentimes, depending on storm mode, but oftentimes that means the higher likelihood for hail, right? You get into those super isolated storms, maybe just 1 or 2 storms over here, you're going to have a very, very low chance for that hail to hit anything. So I've outlined Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, all in that level 2 risk for large hailstones today. We're talking about up to, again, tennis ball size hail in those areas highlighted there in red, up to golf ball size hail for those areas highlighted in orange, including Topeka, Kansas City, and then smaller as you get farther off into Missouri, like Jefferson City. Just a note there, we are not including St. Louis in this forecast today. They're just a little outside of that storm risk. Let's go through and let's break this storm risk down city by city. So we're going to start with KC first. Your storm timeline tonight is between 4 and 9 o'clock. Storms are going to be very, very isolated for your evening commute. So I'm not too terribly worried about you getting home from work. I think it's after that. If you have any dinner plans this evening, you know, any of those outdoor soccer games, baseball games, football practice this time of the year, that's what's going to be impacted by this rain right here. So here we are, 4 o'clock. It's pretty isolated right now, but you can see just how widespread those showers and storms get as we head into the late evening hours. The sun's about to set and those storms start to weaken. Again, for your max hail size here, I kept you between that ping pong to maybe, or golf ball to maybe up to 2-inch size hail. Your likelihood sitting at a level 2, but anything over golf ball size hail, I brought you down to a low likelihood, a level 1. Now let's talk about some of the other hazards, and then we're going to zoom out and we're going to talk about the rest of Kansas. We're going to talk about portions of Missouri, and then we'll go down into Oklahoma as well. For your wind hazard today, Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, of course, those are the areas that we're most likely going to get that long line of storms. That's where we're going to see the highest wind risk for today. 65, 70 mile per hour wind speeds are absolutely possible. You also have a tornado risk with some of those more isolated storms that could form into supercells, and I think we're going to zoom down here. All right, slowly but surely, we're zooming down into that tornado forecast that we have at a level 1 out of 5. Salina, Wichita, and Topeka all included in that risk there. Now let's move on to the timeline because again, I wanted to zoom out and show you that future radar here. One more time, what you're going to see is around 4 to 5 o'clock, you're going to start to see those tall clouds start to build, right? You're going to be able to see them to the north of you. Look to the north and you're going to be able to see those bright, tall clouds. As we continue through the evening hours, more cloud cover, but also more storms will start to form and almost unzip right along the highway here. Highway 70 is going to be filled with storms by about 6 to 7 o'clock this afternoon, or this evening rather, anywhere from Kansas City all the way back to Salina, continuing to track down to the south and east into Emporia and Wichita as we head into the late evening hours just around or shortly after dinner time. Storms will continue to track down to the south with some lingering rain across portions of Kansas City and then all the way back to the east into Missouri. I think that these storms have a fast enough track that flooding issue is not going to be too much of a hazard here, especially because you'll be most likely in bed or at home at this point. However, there are some portions of Missouri that I would keep an eye on potential flooding. I think these storms are going to move fast enough that flooding is not an issue this evening. By tomorrow morning, you're dry and cooler as well. Temperatures drop behind this cold front. We're in the upper 70s for tomorrow, but Friday, you may need a jacket. Friday afternoon, temperatures top out in the 60s on Friday afternoon as that cold air continues to surge in, especially throughout the daytime on Friday. You actually may start Friday morning warmer than Friday afternoon. So you may drop a few degrees as that cold air continues to move down into Kansas City and Wichita. By Saturday, you warm back up to the mid-70s. Perfect football weather if you're headed out to watch the Jayhawks play, or not the Jayhawks. Is it the Jayhawks? Kansas, KU, K-State, Jayhawks, right? Yeah, and Wildcats? Did I get that correct? Nailed it. My producers are back here saying, move along. We're not talking about football here, even though it feels like football weather out there. Alrighty, let's move on. Level 2 risk, KC, Wichita today. Level 1 risk for those storms as they continue to track down to the south. They lose a lot of that power. They weaken as we head into places like Oklahoma. So places like Woodward, Oklahoma could get some strong winds, but I'm not too worried about that hail here. Again, St. Louis is out of the risk for today, and so is Springfield, Missouri.